Welcome to Martini Time. It's Sunday. Been a nice day here in Blackstone. And I've been writing on Facebook. Wait a minute, let me have a drink here. I've been writing pretty much all day on a single topic, which has been the gun violence, the gun debate, which is, and the new player in the block, which is the students. And so the gun debate, whether it's unlimited guns is the answer or control of guns is the answer. And so this kind of like goes around and around and around like a whirlpool. And as I've been, working with this idea with different friends, what I call a dialogue, because I don't end up in feeding the whirlpool. Now a whirlpool is, if you ever had a tub bath and you pull the plug, you'll see a whirlpool, or you call it a vortex, and it sucks all the water in the tub into it. All the water, the foam and the dirt, everything goes into this whirlpool. In one of the movies of the Caribbean and Pirates of the Caribbean, there was a huge whirlpool. And so this is a mythological figure, the whirlpool. It was in the Greek, I think it was in Odysseus, Scylla and Charybdis. And so the whirlpool is a great obstacle to get by, to get out of, because it's dysfunctional. Everything gets sucked into it. If you go running to stop it, you get sucked into it. All the first responders come running and they get sucked into it, you see. Nobody can get out. And it keeps increasing. It's a self-generating vortex. The more people that try to stop it, the more people add into it, you see. Because it's let me get my thing here, you see. The whirlpool, the whirlpool is made of two opposite views. They're contradictory, yet they're mutually dependent. Like this, these are mutually dependent to make a sound, you see. You can't make a sound without them. So you can't make a whirlpool without two contradictory views, each of which is exclusive of the other one, but mutually dependent, you see. So I keep, I try to understand this because it's also part of my own mind. If I can understand my own mind and the whirlpools of worry that suck my thoughts into it, you see, when you get a whirlpool of worry, everything gets sucked into it. And then we have a panic attack. A panic attack is a worry whirlpool that hasn't been stopped. And it's generating energy to the point where, pow, like when you stick a mic in front of an amplifier, it'll explode the amplifier if you don't turn it off, or your ears, whichever comes first. So these whirlpools reach a saturation point where either the whole thing destroys, it can't hold it, it all just flies off, or a creative leap happens. It generates the energy for a creative leap. So let's look at our society now, and there are several social whirlpools that have been sucking all the energy out of our life for decades. These are called wedge issues. Abortion is one. Gay rights is one. Racism is one. Civil rights is one. Guns is one. Women's rights is one. So these are all whirlpools of opposite values that swirl around each other. And I've come to the observation, which is kind of like standing, if you look at a river with a whirlpool in it, if you're in the whirlpool, you can't understand it because you're in it. But if you're standing on the beach, you can see the whirlpool and the two forces, like two fish, two tomcats going around and around, you see. The Ouroboros is my favorite metaphor, the snake eating its tail. In the whirlpool, you have two sides eating each other, trying to end the whirlpool. So the more you try to end the whirlpool, the bigger the whirlpool gets. That's the way it works. So what drives it? Well, the gun issue today, we've been talking about that, is that it's two victims. So usually you get a whirlpool when you have two victims, each calling the other side the abuser. So you get, I'm a victim, I feel a victim, and you're the abuser. No, I feel the victim, and you're the abuser. So we go round and around and around, you see. So what are the victims in the gun issue? Okay, well, the people, say the gun cult or the gun group, say we're a victim to the bad guys. We feel victimized by the government. Wants to take away our freedom, which is guns, you see. Or we feel victimized, or we feel we could be a victim if somebody with a gun comes and we don't have one. So I need a gun to stop feeling a victim. It's a logical conclusion. When you have a gun, you have power to not be a victim. Now the other side, which is basically we need to control guns, is because they too feel a victim of mass shooters, of the bad guy with a gun. But not so much individually, but they feel the victim of the group shooting. The mass shooter who comes into the theater, or the sports stadium, or the school, which is the most recent one, you see. So there's this fear of this fear of random ritual violence, you see. So there's a feeling of being a victim. I could be a victim. My kid could be a victim. And the other side says, well, I could be a victim too. I need more guns. And the other side, I need less guns. How can you get out of that? Wow, 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 you see. So this goes on endlessly. So what's happened that's different? Well, finally, conditions are right for the students who are the real victims. These are the people being shot, you see. They're all calling, I'm a survivor, right? So I escaped being a victim. I know what it feels like. So there's a certain authenticity here. And basically what they're saying to the whirlpool with a shout of authenticity, enough. We've had it with this debate. We've had it with this paralysis. We've had it with this whirlpool of victims swirling around each other. We're the real victims. You're not the victims. We are. And we say, stop it. And you know, when you read them or see these students speaking, you feel touched. At least I do. The heart goes, ooh. The heart moves. Something authentic is happening here. When the politician speaks against the student, it's obvious the politician is not authentic. Rubio, it's obvious. When faced with authenticity, your inauthenticity is revealed. And you can't stand. You're blown away, you see. And so there's a voice rising, it seems, on all the other quarters. The women's movement, Me Too, is a shout out of the victims of sexual abuse in the workplace saying, we've had enough. The Black Lives Matter is victims of police violence. We've had enough. We've had enough. Enough, you see. So there's a coalition happening of victims who rise up and say, we don't want to play the victim game anymore. We don't want to be silent victims, abused victims, ashamed victims, guilty victims. We don't want to play that anymore. We don't want to play this game that we've been playing for 40 years. It's been the political dynamics of the right and the left, particularly on the right, because they love wedge issues. That's what makes the whirlpool go, that generates voters, passionate voters, you see. If the right doesn't have a passionate voter, they don't have a voter. So it has to be a heartfelt issue to make them rise up and go en masse to the voters, to the polls, you see. But now you have a passionate cause arising on the liberal side, and that's new. That's new. Because all the passion has been on the right with their family values. But now there's a value issue rising on the left that is revealing the inauthenticity of the right. So something is changing. There's a voice, a wind. There's the word is being spoken. My favorite Catholic poem or saying is, "Speak but the word and my soul will be healed." Well, this is important because when the soul or the mind is fragmented, or when the mind is fragmented and you're caught between the dilemma of equal but contrary choices, like the girl who's in love and she's got Mr. A on this side, Mr. B there, and they're both got value, and she's going, "Well, I want him. No, I want him. No, or which way should I go? There, there. Should I have coffee or tea? Wow, you see. A voice rises up and says, "Enough. Just do it. Just act. Enough. Enough wishy-wash." And see, the right has always accused the left of being wishy-washy, flip-flopping, no values, unpatriotic, girly men, drinking latte, flip-flopping, emotional, you see. Something's changing. Something's flipping. There's a value, there's an authenticity rising that is saying enough. So what we're getting now is a coalition of blacks and Hispanics and women who've had enough, and now young people. Wow, who's left? So, thanks for dropping in. I want to share, what I've been working with today. And basically it's understanding how the identity of the victim has taken over America and plays on both sides of the aisle. See, each accusing the other of being the abuser. Trump has made his politics out of this. Obama's abused us. The liberals are abusing us. They're the ones doing it all, you see. And of course, on the left, you can say Trump is the abuser. He's the one doing it all, you see. So you go like two tomcats. You go around and around and around, you see. Both sides claiming victimhood. Christianity is a great religion for victims. Christ was a victim, you see. The persecuted Christian, that's the victim, you see. So we have to be aware of just the dimensions of victimhood and how we get sucked into these whirlpools of feeling victimized by somebody that's trying to take away my freedom. Well, if your freedom depends on someone else releasing you, it's not freedom. You see? If you're playing a game of victimhood, you're not free. You can't take your freedom back because nobody can take it. Your freedom is basic. Your freedom is fundamental. And it's not given to you by the government. It's given to you, you could say given to you by God or given to you by your original nature. Consciousness is freedom. Consciousness, awareness is free when it liberates itself from the games of the mind, when it liberates itself from the rituals of social games in relationship and in society. Your freedom is liberated when you liberate yourself from your own thinking, from the game of your own thinking, from the worry of your thinking, you see. So that liberation, that freedom is fundamental, but it has to be realized and seen by seeing the perfect trap of being the victim, of feeling the victim. Whenever you feel the victim, perk up, become awake and aware. Wait a minute, what's the truth here? What's going on? What's the truth here? I don't know, I want to see. When you look like that, when you see like that, you're not a victim. Seeing is not being a victim. Seeing is liberation. So, thanks for dropping in.